If you're trying to play guitar like Slash, but you feel like his style is a little bit too difficult to figure out, don't worry, because in this video I'm going to show you 5 Slash style licks that are actually a lot simpler than they sound, and that you can learn today to instantly sound like Slash. And these are just a taste of the other 40 plus in my How to Play Like Slash masterclass, where I've shown over 500 guitarists how to use licks and scales in a musical way, and how to create solos just like Slash. There's a link in the description if you want to know more after this video. This lick comes from the Velvet Revolver song, She Builds Quick Machines. It's part of the solo, and I'm doing this in the key of C sharp minor. But obviously you can use these in whatever key you like, and the scale position is position 1. So it starts with a bend up from the minor third. We're kind of bending just past a whole tone. So you bend up a tone to that note, but then go just a little bit further. Then all it is. So we're kind of using the minor pentatonic shape, but we're adding the second note of the scale in as well from the Dorian mode. Then we've got a little hammer-on phrase. And then we end on the bend from the flat 7 to the root. So that bit, we pick each note of the phrase in that bit there. This lick comes from the song Perfect Crime by Guns N' Roses, and it's like a little repetitive phrase just using minor pentatonic, and this is position 1. It's nice and easy, it's only got 4 notes in it, but it's the execution that is tricky with this. So the first note, you kind of bend a little bit. You're not even bending a semitone, it's just a tiny little bit. After you've bent that note, you do a pull off, and then you pick the next 2 notes. By picking those notes, you get that extra attack. What's great about these licks is you can use most of them in the other positions and using the other scale tones as well. So you don't have to just stick to those boxes. You can adapt them and use them however you like. For example, but the problem is, if you don't know your scale shapes that well, it's going to make this a lot trickier. You can obviously just learn these licks in isolation, but the better you know the notes on the fretboard and all your positions, the more freedom you'll have when it comes to making your own solos and improvising. So to help, I made the fretboard trainer. It helps you learn all of Slash's favourite scales and more in any position, in any area of the fretboard, in any key. You can isolate the scale shapes to learn them one at a time, learn arpeggios, chord tones, and then even enter test mode to really embed those scales to memory. Now, I've included that in the How to Play Like Slash course, but you can grab it on its own. There's a link in the description. This lick is from the Dorian scale, again, position 1. Sliding from the minor third to the major third. So you can kind of consider this as a major E minor type lick, which is what Slash does a lot of the time. He blends major and minor together. That's how he gets that bluesy sound. And then we're hitting that major 6th note as well. So we've got a slide, hammer on lick, we're hitting the major 6th. And it just repeats basically. Now, this is a really tricky lick to get down. It's one of those repetitive phrases, and with the picking, the fingering itself, it's probably a good idea to slow it down and gradually build the tempo. So I'm using the Speed Trainer at the moment to help me with that. There's a link in the description for that if you want to check it out. But you can play about with these notes, you don't have to stick to that. So instead of landing on that sixth, we could end on the flat 7. And alternate, or we could start from the 2nd and slide up to the minor 3rd. Slash would play this with his first 3 fingers, not his pinky. But if you're a little bit further up the neck, like if you're playing in G, for example, and you've got shorter fingers like me, it might help to use your pinky finger for that. But it's another learning curve. You'll have to learn the mechanics of it all over again because it feels completely different. If you do want to stick to the slash style phrasing, all you need to do is just angle your wrist a little bit so that your fingers can spread a little bit further. This one is another repetitive lick and it's really tricky to get the timing right on this, so I highly recommend starting off with a metronome and working your way up with the tempo. This one comes from Snakepit's song Dime Store Rock, and we're using the flat 5. No, we're not. Yes, we are. We're going from the flat 5th note to the 5th and then the flat 7. Now it's really difficult to get this one clear because it's going so fast. You need to really work on your hammer-ons and your synchronization between your picking and your fingers. Now I'm not picking every note. To make this faster, because we're playing over 2 strings, play the first note with an upstroke and then the second note with a downstroke. So when you're practicing with a metronome, this with a metronome, just make sure, obviously, that that hammer-on is in time and nice and clear, and then that's going to help when you build speed to make those notes nice and clear, because it can start to blend into one if you're not careful. What I really like about this lick though is that you can move it anywhere on the fretboard. We can go from the 4th to the flat 5th and then the 5th. Use any of the other scale notes. Pretty cool, one of my faves. This lick is a really interesting one that you can make sound like you're playing really fast, but actually it's a lot easier than it sounds. And you can just repeat it on a cycle. You can use it to get in and out of phrases. So it's a fairly simple legato pattern, really. The thing is, you can learn as many licks as you like and play them all day long, but if you don't know how to use them musically, you'll never sound like Slash. That's why I highly recommend watching this video next, because it's going to show you how to use what you've just learned and make it 10 times more powerful by using it in a musical context. Don't forget to check out the How to Play Like Slash course, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.